go. Here we go. On the move. In the groove. In the groove. In the groove. In the groove. Here we go. Here we go. All the way. All the way. Every day. Every day.
YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy True Thought. Hey, it's been a while since I made a video. I was looking at my videos and I think it's been over a year since I actually made another video for a couple of reasons. One, it's just been a lot of transition over the last year, you know, kind of switching, going between jobs, me and my wife purchasing our first home, things of that nature. And then secondly, I think it's probably the biggest reason is that I've kind of run out of things to say or talk about when it comes to the Army National Guard. And I think I've seen that with quite a few vloggers who talk about the military. They just kind of run out of things to say with the military, or they kind of repeat themselves and make new videos about topics and issues that they've discussed already. So I kind of hit that point now. So I think for this video, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a 4-year review. So I completed 4 years of being in the Army National Guard. This past January, ETS out of the Guard January of 2020. And right now I'm really I'm waiting to move from the National Guard over to the Army Reserves. And so before I get into why I'm switching over to the Army Reserves, just kind of want to go through a review of the last 4 years and just, I guess, my experience with the Army National Guard. So I'm here in the state of Maryland. Your experience with the Army National Guard is going to depend on your state as well as on your specific unit. Each unit is different, and each unit functions, has its own culture, functions a certain way. So the expectations shouldn't be what you hear someone else say. So my experiences may not be the same experiences that you will experience in your unit. Again, it just all kind of depends on your leadership and the makeup of the soldiers within that unit. So for me, let's just kind of go through the pros first of my 4 years. So I think probably the biggest pro for me has just been the camaraderie and the relationships that I've built with the soldiers in my unit. You know, met a lot of interesting and fun people, individuals from different backgrounds, who have different perspectives. But no matter, even if we have those different backgrounds and different perspectives, we've been able to kind of forge relationships throughout the last 4 years. And I'm forever grateful for that. The Army National Guard is filled with some people who are really good to the core of their heart and just want to serve. And so just kind of being around them has been a benefit to me and to my experience within the Guard. Another pro of the National Guard is just the opportunity to serve, whether it be serving your state or whether it be serving the country. You know, your unit is deployed, you're serving the country, just like active duty. When you're home and things happen, whether it be hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes. Now, you know, with the coronavirus, certain states are, I know New York activated its National Guard for one of the cities in New York. Here in Maryland, the National Guard has an elevated status right now, just in case it's needed. So, you know, when your state needs you and calls on you, you're able to serve. So that's also, that opportunity is really good. Because again, you're really just kind of giving back to your state and to your country. Another pro for the Army National Guard, and this is a pro really for the entire Army, is just the opportunity to train, have different training. That training, especially if it lines up with what you do in a civilian world, that training is free, and that training can benefit you in your civilian life as well. So for me, and for what I do in the civilian world, I've gotten training in the Army National Guard that benefits me, makes me more marketable on the civilian side of my life. So I'm grateful for that. Another one is going to be just your what is it, family. So, you know, unlike the regular Army, where you're doing it 24/7. You know, the Army National Guard, we drill 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks I should say, in the summer. Sometimes you have additional 2 to 3 week trainings throughout the year, but it allows you a little more flexibility with your time and with your family. So you're not always deployed, you're not, you know, away from your family. You know, typically you belong to a unit that's in your home state. So when you do go away for drill, you're still home essentially. So that's kind of beneficial, especially if that's what you're looking for. If you're looking for a situation where you're not always being pulled from home or being pulled from your family, then the Army National Guard is good for that. And I think the last thing I'll talk about is TRICARE. TRICARE, I think any person in the service will tell you that TRICARE is pretty good. And when you compare it on the civilian side, when you compare it to civilian insurance, TRICARE is typically cheaper, while at the same time, giving you the same broad coverage that these civilian insurance companies give as well. So TRICARE is worth it. If that's, sometimes you hit moments in your time when you're serving, you just kind of wonder, like, why am I still doing this, or why am I here? If nothing else but TRICARE is a big benefit and is a big motivating factor to keep you going, because it provides really good health care. Some of the cons that I've experienced so far in my 4 years, I think it's probably the biggest one, is really slow promotion. Within the National Guard, the promotions are really based on your state's needs. So active Army, it's essentially the entire Army, and that's kind of where the promotions are based on. So there's a larger pool for them to select from, which creates more opportunity for soldiers to get promoted. Within the Army National Guard, the promotions are based on what's needed within the state, so the pool of opportunities is much smaller. Oftentimes what happens is you'll get, the state will fill their billets for whatever rank they need, and if they're full, then the people who are behind them are essentially just going to have to wait until that person retires and moves on to another state or to another rank. So that could slow your promotion rate, and you can end up being one rank for 3, 4, 5 years. I've seen some people for even longer than that, just kind of depending on how your state works and what opportunities are available in your state. I think another thing too is, depending on your unit, your opportunity to go to schools can also vary. It can be either really lots of opportunities, if your unit has money, or if you happen to be in a unit that doesn't have that much money available for it, then your opportunities to go to schools are not that great, which means that your training isn't going to be as up to date, or your training may not be that wonderful either. So it just kind of depends again on the unit that you're a part of and the state that you're a part of. Some states have more money than others. Some units have more money than others. So hopefully, if you're making the decision to join the Army National Guard, hopefully you're in the state and in the unit that has the resources that they need to keep their soldiers trained up. But that's one of the things that's probably the biggest con for me, is just the lack of promotion opportunities within it. Another one is, so it doesn't, even though I said that, the Army National Guard is good for family, that's really just kind of in relation to the active duty. But really, sometimes even within the Army National Guard, it can still kind of become a hindrance to your planning. So I'm a government contractor, and as a contractor, I know I have PTO. The unit that I was a part of, however, we had our regular 2 weeks in the summer, when we had the drill, and our 1 week in a month when we had the drill as well. However, we also had an additional 3-week train up later on in that year. As a contractor who only has PTO to use for leave, oftentimes that would essentially take up my PTO. I didn't work for a company who would pay you when you're away for drill. And so when that would happen, of course, now I don't have the leave to go take vacation with my family. So I haven't been on vacation with my family probably about 4 years now. 4 or 5 years actually, probably about 4 or 5 years. So that's another con. It's just kind of sometimes, depending on your work situation and the up-tempo of your unit, those things could kind of mess around with your family time, with your leave, and eventually kind of derail your vacation planning. But outside of that, though, as far as the individuals that I've encountered Most of the individuals that I've encountered within my 4 years in the Army National Guard have been great individuals, people who are willing to be very helpful, people who bring great ideas to the table, people who are willing to learn and who work well together. So overall, if I had to give it a rating, I probably would give it an A minus. The A portion of it, because again, it's been a benefit to my life thus far. The minus, just because, like I said, slow promotion opportunities and not as many opportunities to attend schools as I would have liked to have. With that being said, like I said, I ETS out of the Army National Guard in January. Currently, I'm waiting to switch over to the Army Reserves. I'm doing that for a couple of reasons. For one, the Army Reserves, it works very similar to the Army National Guard in the sense that you are drilling 1 week in a month, 2 weeks in the year. However, the main difference between the Reserves and the Army National Guard, as far as the things that I'm looking for, there's more. The units are federally funded instead of state funded, so that means they have more money, and that more money translates into more opportunities to attend schools. And because the Army Reserves is not restricted to the state, they also have more promotion opportunities. So your promotion billets aren't determined by what state you're in; they're determined, Army Reserve wide. So I like that aspect. So you can put in your work, put in your time, put in your training, and then later on down the line you can get rewarded with earning the next rank. So for me, that's pretty important, especially if I'm going to stay in it for 20 years. I want to be able to have opportunities to grow and do some things if I'm going to remain in it for 20 years. Another thing that's beneficial to me, I think will be beneficial to me, is the IMA option. So the IMA option is an option that the National Guard doesn't have. So the IMA option allows you to do all of your year-long drill within a month. So instead of drilling 1 week in a month and 2 weeks out of the year, you'll just report to a unit you'll report to a unit, and then you will drill for an entire month, and then that pretty much completes your year of training. So what that does, it just kind of frees up that time that I spoke about when it comes to planning vacations with the family. Just frees up your time from having to take off from work as well, especially if you're working on something that's pretty important. You can kind of get everything out of the way as far as your drill is concerned, and then you have the rest of the year to focus on your job, to focus on your family, and things of that nature. So I'm looking to, once I get released from the National Guard, officially, once I get officially released from the National Guard, then I'm going to be making a switch over to the Army Reserves. And so I'll let you all know how that process turns out, and what I think about the Army Reserves once I get in. So with that being said, I want to bring this video to a close. I hope that the information I shared is helpful. Drop comments below. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll try to get back to you and answer you in the comment section. If you have any suggestions as far as things that you would like to hear me talk about, or in my presentation, drop those on the comment section. I'll take those into consideration. All right, you guys take care. Peace.